You have had some initial sessions where some introduction about startup procedure has been given to you. Motivation behind startups, motivation behind entrepreneurship has been given to you. You have heard some external speakers, some entrepreneurs who have shared their experiences with you, their understanding with you, and we will have several other entrepreneurs coming forward and giving you small sessions talking about their startup, talking about their own journey, etc. For example, tomorrow again we have a couple of sessions from entrepreneurs, and which is going to basically give you some more experience about how startups are created, how an idea is converted into a company, how a product is developed, how it is commercialized, and how people make money out of it. So how an idea converted into a project can finally make money. So that is, the process of startup. That is the process of entrepreneurship, and we are going to have several interesting sessions on that. So tomorrow we have a couple of sessions again on this, and next week we have a full series of lectures from some IIT professors, which is being done jointly with NPTEL and National Digital Library of India. So these courses, these sessions are also going to be very important for the certificate in this course, and you're going to basically gain a lot of understanding, a lot of experience about the startup ecosystem in India, the challenges, the opportunities, the overall process. So all these sessions are going to be very important. Please don't miss these sessions, and ultimately at the end of these sessions there will be an MCQ test on the basis of which certificates will be given for the sessions. And also our objective is to prepare you for a pitch battle where you will be asked to submit some interesting idea that you made. So what is the journey towards that? Means what is the process involved by using which you can achieve at that point? Right now, many of you may not have any idea, any thought about startup also. There are some people in this course who already have startups or who are already working on product ideas, who are already working on something interesting. So for them, it is easy. But many of you are freshers also, as far as startup is concerned. So you necessarily don't have an idea right now. You necessarily don't have a product idea. You have not even studied any sector right now. So we need to basically prepare you for this process so that at least you can start thinking and start appreciating what is the flow, what is the method through which you can really come up with the right kind of ideas. You can yourself explore certain new ideas and evaluate them from your angle, and also formulate a proper strategy for implementing that idea. So that is what we are going to very briefly discuss in this session. So this is basically first introduction to the process of product innovation and planning of the business, planning of the startup. So I have mentioned some steps over here. So anybody who is interested in developing a product, developing an idea, and commercializing it, they definitely should go through these processes. They definitely should go through these steps. So earlier sessions, I had given you this example, right? That if you remember this picture, I had shown this picture in the introductory sessions as well, where I mentioned that for developing any startup, there has to be a collaboration between the product development side and the business side. So both the things have to be developed. So if you're developing a product, if you have an idea about a technology, if you just independently develop technology without worrying about the business aspect, it may not be the best thing, because ultimately, if you are not able to sell that technology, if you're not able to commercialize that technology, it may not fetch much dividend for you. It may not benefit for you. It is as good as an academic project that, okay, hey, I have done some nice experiment. I have a lab prototype. I can show it to some people, but I can't take it one step forward. I can't do anything with that. So that is as good as an school experiment, right? So in school, we have science exhibitions where students make a lot of toys. They do a lot of projects and they showcase it and they win prizes. So you can do that kind of stuff. Even in IIT, there are people who organize competitions. They organize product design competitions where you may not be serious about really commercializing the product. You just find out some ideas, you present that idea, and win some prizes if the idea is good. But that is not the objective here. So the institute's objective and the entrepreneurship school's objective is to help students in developing real products which are marketable, which are commercializable. So towards that end, even before you start developing a product, even before you start converging on an idea, it is very important that we understand the business aspect. We understand the market of the product, whether there is a need of that product, whether there is a demand of that product. So we don't just start with a technology idea that, hey, I have this nice, cool technology idea, start developing it. That is not the right strategy. First thing is we need to look at the problem. What is the problem? What is the requirement in the market? What kind of problems people will be interested in solving? Whether there is the demand of this kind of solution in the market. The first thing is understanding the market, understanding whether the problem that I am looking at is of people's interest. If I develop a product, if I develop a solution using any strategy, using product, using technology, using services, using business model, whether that solution is going to be marketable or not, whether I will be able to sell that solution or not. So for that, a detailed analysis, detailed survey of the market is required. A good understanding of the market is required. So right from the very beginning, it is important that we are able to wear both the hats. Just being a technology developer, just being an engineer, just being a technocrat is not enough. If you have to really develop products which are going to be real, which are going to go to the real market, which are going to earn revenue, which are going to lead to a startup, it is very important that we are able to understand the market and its requirement. So, and then once we finalize that this is something, this is a possible solution, after studying the problem, after studying the requirements, after studying the existing approaches in the market, if you are able to understand that, yeah, I mean, I have a better idea, I have a good idea which can solve this problem in a much better way as compared to whatever is existing in the market, then only I should go ahead and try to implement that idea. So that is the better approach to get started. So first thing is understanding requirement. So that's why I have given this list of steps that are required to be pursued if you really want to arrive at ideas. So the very first step, if you see, is identifying a problem. Identifying a problem means identifying an opportunity. Problem means for entrepreneurs, it is opportunity. That what kind of gaps are there in the market, what kind of problems customers are facing which can be solved. It can be any sector, it can be any area, it can be education, it can be healthcare, it can be agriculture, it can be administration, it can be many other things. So since currently COVID is going on, COVID's effect is affecting all the markets, all the industries, all the economies, government, etc. So I can give you one example from IIT Kharagpur itself. So now when there is a COVID patient in the hospital, there are lots of them, they are given beds, they are given ventilators, and COVID is a very infectious pandemic, right? So even if you are at 1 meter proximity of the patient, you can acquire the infection, you can acquire the virus. Therefore, it is the doctors and the nurses and the healthcare staff who are attending those patients, they are at very high risk. So for any delivery of food, delivery of medicine, for any of these activities, when the doctors, when the nurses, the compounder, they have to approach the patient, they are at high risk. So they have to definitely cover them up in proper protective garments called PPE. They have to sanitize themselves, but still approaching such large number of patients daily who are admitted, it is a high risk. And we have seen so many news articles that so and so doctors succumbed to COVID. They lost their life because of infection. They were trying to help people but because they had to be in touch with so many COVID patients, they could not really develop right immunity, and despite medication, etc., they could not survive. So we have lost several doctors. We have heard sad news of several lives of doctors getting lost. So now in this scenario, definitely there is if an engineer looks at it and try to find out what is the requirement. Can we solve this problem through technology? Can we solve this problem through some innovation? Can we assist our healthcare staff? Can we help doctors in dealing with this scenario. So towards that end, there was a product developed by one of your seniors at IIT Kanpur. In fact, he is from electronics department and very enthusiastic about robotics. I have seen this post, and many of you might have seen this post. He has got these things published on Facebook also, and he developed it from some hospital in I think some cities, Ranchi. And this is a general requirement, and definitely at this point, this is a very crucial requirement. So, what was the product developed? He developed a small robot which is responsible for carrying medications, food, testing equipment, thermometer, etc. to the patient. So basically, from a distance itself, the healthcare staff puts all these things on the robot. The robot is like it's basically carrying a tray, and it automatically moves to one patient, and from one patient to another patient, carrying all those items. And the patient uses those items, and then the robot comes back, and then those items are replaced. Then it goes to another patient. So that way, that robot is helping a lot of doctors in dealing with so many COVID patients. And that way, the doctors are getting safe. They don't have to be in physical contact with so many COVID patients. So that can be a life-saving device. If you are able to make that robot in a cost-effective manner, it can be a life-saving device. So that's what is the requirement. So here, it's not that the innovator or the engineer had a dream and he all of a sudden started working on an idea that I want to make a robot. There are a lot of people who have worked on robotics. But then whether there's demand of some robot in the market, which kind of robot is in demand, where people are really needing it. So that's the question of demand and requirement, understanding the critical requirement in the market. So then an engineer finds out, yeah, there is an opportunity over here. If I develop a robot which can assist doctors in delivering medications, delivering food, delivering equipments to the COVID patients, it can help in a big way. It can cut down their contact with the infected patient. So that way, this product got a lot of appreciation. I think they are going to do this further. So likewise, I'm just trying to give you one example in the present scenario where an engineer is able to spot a problem and develop a product to address that problem. So innovation starts from identifying a problem. It's not the other way around. You don't start with a product and then find out the customer. You first find out the problem and then try to figure out what is the best way to solve that problem. What technology, what business, what approach, what model to use to solve that problem. So that is the approach which is used in entrepreneurship. That's why the first step that I have given over here is identifying a problem. And how do you identify a problem? So again, for that you need to study. You need to study a sector. You need to study the industry. For example, if in this particular problem, we need to see that, okay, for a healthcare staff, what kind of solution will be required? What kind of technology will be required? So we need to study that, okay, what devices, what technologies are already available. So maybe if you look at this problem, some ideas will come to your mind. What kind of technologies can be used for basically safeguarding doctors from contact. So of course, automation will come into picture. So you will find out if you Google, you will have ideas about automating the process, how to basically automate the process using robotics. And then you can search on internet what robotic solutions are available. So first thing is searching what is already available, searching and finding out what kind of solutions the industry is already using. So it's not that you are the only person who is thinking about the product. Maybe there are many other people who have also thought about similar solution, similar problem, and they have proposed certain solutions, they have developed and marketed certain solution, and their product may be already selling in the market. So therefore, studying the sector and the industry is important. That, hey, I have this robotics idea, can I go ahead and commercialize it? If I develop it today, will it be sellable? So first of all, I need to see what are the similar products available in the market. Are there commercial robots which are being used in hospitals which can solve this problem? And if yes, what is their cost? What is their design? Is it really affordable for Indian hospitals? Can I do something cheaper? So that is about studying the sector and the industry, trying to see what solutions are already available in that sector and industry, and then trying to come up with ideas or solutions which can be significantly better, cheaper, more efficient, etc. So there, the third point comes into picture, which is exploring solution. after you study the sector and find out, what is going on in the industry, what kind of similar products are existing, then you come to explore your own ideas and refine your own ideas, try to figure out what better can be done. So this identifying problem and studying the sector, how does this come? So these are again done by your online search. So when you have a problem in mind and you have heard about it, and how do we hear about problem also? We have so much of news items, we have so many business articles, we have so many sources of information, blogs, etc., from which we keep getting information about challenges, problems, etc. So some problems are very common and everybody knows it. Like in India, education in rural areas is a problem. Quality of teachers in rural area is a problem. Everybody knows it. Clean drinking water is a problem. Everybody knows it. Many people are having malnutrition. Many children are not having proper food. Many people know it. Most of us know it. That in India, 40% of people are suffering from malnutrition. So there are about which we are already aware. So identifying problem is not a big deal. Some problems may be very specific and they may be arising because of certain circumstances, but there are many other problems which are very well known, and there are definitely a lot of need of innovation in businesses, technologies, process, etc., through which these problems can be solved. So if the problem is too specific and too specific for a particular condition, for a particular scenario, like this COVID problem, the example that I took for COVID, there it is very specific problem that, okay, for providing a good interface for the doctors in a hospital, I need a robotic system, I need an automated system so that doctors and nurses can be saved. So this is a specific problem. You'll know about this problem if you read about doctors' problem, if you read about news articles saying that doctors are getting infected. So identification of problems needs information from outside. So we need to be aware and alert. We need to keep looking at news. We need to keep looking at current affairs. We need to keep looking at what are the problems being published and discussed in all these articles. Then we come up with, we are able to identify problems basically. And these days there are a lot of groups. There are a lot of social media platforms where problem statements are discussed, are posted. So some of these groups may be on Facebook. Some of these groups may be on LinkedIn. I hope you know LinkedIn. Just like Facebook, we have a professional networking site which is called LinkedIn, where you can have your professional profile. So all these platforms, they have groups which are dependent upon the interest. So for example, you may have a startup group which is coming up with new problems, discussing new problems. A lot of people are posting ideas over there and discussing problems over there. So likewise, there are a lot of avenues, a lot of platforms these days where you can learn about problems. You can identify problems. There is no dearth of platform these days where you can identify your problem. You just need to use those platforms, get connected on those platforms, and try to learn, which sector, what kind of issues are going on, and you also learn simultaneously the industry and the sector, what kind of people, what kind of innovation is going on in that sector. So what kind of startups are coming up, what is their solution, what is their business model, what is their product. So all those things we need to understand by reading more and more articles, by reading more and more blogs, so that we become more aware, right? So that definitely requires some time and effort, daily basis. You need to invest some time in reading articles, reading blogs, so that you can have an understanding of that particular area. Suppose you want to solve the problem of farmer suicide. So many times in news channels, we keep hearing about so many farmers committed suicide in Maharashtra. It's a grave problem for the country. And food security of the country is also under threat. Population is growing and the soil fertility is decreasing. There is so much, natural disasters happening, famine happening. So a lot of areas in the country are suffering, and water table is going down, water scarcity is happening. So there are a lot of very severe problems coming up. And for that, we require leadership from youngsters who should come forward and have some innovative solutions, show some leadership on ground. So if you start studying these problems by reading articles, you also come across innovative solutions. That, okay, a good example somebody has said. Somebody has already tried to solve a problem in a certain area, and he has deployed so-and-so technology, he has deployed so-and-so solution. So you get to know about others' approach, what others are doing. And maybe you can have a better idea. Maybe you can do something similar in some areas, some region. So that way you can also proceed. So reading more and more about solutions in a particular sector gives you more maturity. It gives you more understanding about that sector. And again, sector-wise search is very easy to perform. For example, I have listed some websites over here which are basically posting startup ideas, which are posting stories about startup or blogs about startup. They basically have sector-wise division also. So they will have a lot of examples of early stage startup or funded startup in different areas. Okay, means in education there is a new startup which is doing an exciting work, or in healthcare sector some startup has come up with a very nice device which is good for checking health conditions. So likewise, sector-wise, you will find a lot of very good examples coming up daily basis, and these startups may be able to get fund. They are getting some funding for doing their operation, for scaling up. So there are a lot of successful startup stories coming up. Likewise, you may also get some failures also. So you may have stories about startups which have failed. So likewise, both kind of stories you will get on these websites, and you can learn that okay, which approach worked, which approach failed, which startups really succeeded, which startup failed. So that gives you a good amount of maturity. So that requires reading about a particular sector. You don't have to read everything. Of course, whatever sector you are interested in, whatever area you are interested in, you just have to read that area. You have to read problems related to that area. You have to read about startups related to that area. So that is the first approach. Next is exploring solutions. So if you have read about other people's approach, probably you can think of something better. It may be that whatever problem you are thinking of, nobody has thought of it. It is a completely new problem and there is no solution to it. So in that case, your solution becomes probably one of the first solutions, and then you don't have to search a lot of other solutions, what others have done. In some cases, you may find that whatever problem you have identified, there are a lot of people who are already trying to solve it using different approach. So if it is not a new solution, if it is not completely new problem, then of course you have to study what other people are doing, so that whatever you do is maybe at least better than them or competitive with them, so that you can have a proper strategy for the product. Once you have that kind of idea, you need to definitely get it reviewed. You need to get it reviewed by experts or some mentors who have experience with startup, who have experience with studying startup, who have some experience in studying different sectors. So it is always very important to get ideas reviewed, not just the technical angle, but also the commercial angle, the market angle. And of course, if you have to get it reviewed, you have to basically, first of all, prepare your own study. So before getting it reviewed by the experts, you need to prepare your own proposal that this is the problem, this is what I am trying to do, this is my solution, this is what others are doing, and this is your opinion on it. So these points need to be there before you discuss your idea with anyone and ask their inputs. You need to have these points. What is my problem? What am I doing about it? What is the solution? What others are doing about it? Whether there are existing solutions similar to what I am thinking, what others are doing about it, and how my solution is better than them. All these points you need to be clear about. You should be having good understanding by proper search, proper survey, and then only you approach a mentor that okay, this is what I have thought of, this is my idea. Can you throw some light? Can you share your comments and get it reviewed by few experts? And then after that, they may suggest you some changes based on their experience. They may give you some feedback upon related to some gap. Hello.
ऐसे हुआ है एक बार और मेरे साथ एग्जैक्टली ये चीज हो चुका है एक बार.
Who is this? Let me calling user. No. Okay, I muted him. All right. So now here the next point is ideas reviewed and improve your solution. That is an important part because experts who have already studied a lot of startups or worked with startups, they basically keep studying all these sectors. So their inputs also help you. They have studied a lot of businesses. They have done a lot of case studies. They have studied which startups have failed, which startup has succeeded. So they have a lot of models in their mind. So they can give you some valuable feedback regarding prospects of your idea. And then, of course, you have to search so you have to, based on their have to improve your approach, either technology point of view or business point of view. And next, after that, you have to search for competition and improve the solution. So apart from getting feedback, you also have to search for competition. That's what I have already mentioned. That competition is one thing, but beyond that, feedback is one thing, but beyond that, you also have to see what other people are doing and whether their solution is close to your solution or better than your. So in that case, definitely, if there are already people doing something similar, you need to be better, or you need to have something different, which is offering some advantage as compared to others. Otherwise, you will be having difficulty in entering the market. If somebody has already entered a market in a big and you are trying to do something similar, it will be difficult for you. So, and once you have these things done, once you have these steps done, and you have a good idea which is refined, you can try to get some money for developing the product. So generally, if it is just a software-related product, developing software-related product may not require a lot of money. So that's this seed grant means the small initial money required to develop a product. That depends upon the product. If the product is simply a software product, some application, some Android application, some web application, some software technology, some IT technology, so that may not require a lot of money. So that cannot be you can skip that step. The seed grant part you can skip for some products. Whereas if you have some products which are hardware oriented, or there is some business development required where you need some initial money to start with, even to launch the initial product, design the initial product, you need some initial money. In that case, you need to get some seed grant. And after that, using that small money, maybe a few lakhs to few tens of lakhs, depends on the requirement. Some products may require only small amount of money. Some product may require much more. So depending upon the requirement of the product development, it may range from just few lakhs to lakhs. So generally, seed grant, for example, IIT Kharagpur has some options for seed grant. They provide up to 25 lakhs. We are also working with some incubators, accelerator programs who may be able to support up to 10-15 lakhs. So there are, of course, seed grant opportunities. Likewise, there are angel investors. Angel investors means those who have good amount of capital with them, those who have good amount of money with them, and they are interested in investing in startups. So they are, individuals, or they are group of people who have who invest small amount of money in early stage startup. So when they see that, okay, this is a good idea, this is a cool idea, and it has good prospect, it can make good money. So then, based on their judgment, they decide that, hey, let us go ahead and fund this startup. And by doing that, they take share in the company. That when you register the company, we will have that X percentage of share, because we have given you the money to develop the product. And then that angel investment you can use for developing your product and taking it to the next level. So of course, like I have given you example that we have these platforms, we have all these networks to help you in this process. But before that, of course, the first 4-5 steps have to be done. Then only we get to this position of getting seed grant and developing prototype product, etc. And once you have the seed grant and you have developed the prototype product, then you can go for commercialization. For that, you may need more money. If you have to start a company, you have to get an office, you have to hire more people for operations, for production, you have to scale up, right? So you have, right now you have just one prototype, or you have some very few clients, maybe few clients with whom you have done some testing. You have developed some solution, and you have given for testing to some clients, you have got some feedback. But in order to really go to the next level and commercialize and get started as a full-fledged company, you need to raise more money, maybe, because there are many expenditures initially in running the company. You have to hire more people, you have to hire staff for managing the technology development people. Many things you will have to outsource, maybe some product development part, manufacturing part, or any software development part. Some parts you may have to outsource and give it to some other company which are becoming your partner. So you may have to pay them. So for all these initial steps, you may require some investment to scale up further. So after the initial testing with small number of clients, if you want to scale up and you want money, you can develop a business plan and present it before investors and try to get money. And it's not necessary to raise money initially. In many startups, they do something called bootstrapping, BOOT, bootstrapping. That means not raise money from external sources. Whatever money is generated from their transaction, from their business, from that only they grow further. So both approaches are there, and we will take examples on both approaches in our sessions. So once you have that process, and then you can go and scale up your. Once you have the money achieved, you can go ahead and scale up the startup. So this is generally how the work. It first starts with studying a problem, identifying a problem, studying a sector, doing case study. So this study of the sector and study of the competition also leads to something called case study. So this case study is also a very important part for startup procedure. So if you want to start a company, before that, first of all, you need to study the sector, and that is called case study. Cases means you have cases of other startup, other entrepreneurs who may have developed solutions and who may have commercialized solutions. So you are studying those cases. You are figuring out what kind of solutions have worked successfully, what kind of solutions have got funding, what kind of solutions have been able to sell in market successfully. So these are cases, success cases, failure cases. So studying all those cases is called case study. And through that, you get a lot of insight about product development, what it takes to develop a real product which goes into the market. So you may keep sitting in the institute and you may keep doing projects, but ultimately, if you are not having this approach, if you're not doing the case study, if you're not really studying what is going on outside, whether this product is at all sellable or not, it doesn't yield any tangible result. It just remains an academic project. Whereas if you do the proper survey of the market, if you understand, if you study 10 different solutions given by other people, you study the problem properly, then you arrive at a much concrete idea that, oh, this is something which is a real problem. These are already existing in the market. These are the solutions which are already existing in the market. And this is, I am getting a new idea which is much better. Or there is a completely new problem and new idea that I am going to work on. So that part is very important. So these initial 4-5 steps I have given you, they are going to be very useful for you in this course, because ultimately you will be doing pitch submission based on this. Initial part, you have to select the sector, select the area of your interest, whatever it may be: education, technology, healthcare, agri-tech, pharmacy, whatever. Means you may have robotics and AI, you may have products related to security and governance. For example, very recently we have seen police was administering the COVID affected area using drone. So again, the same problem for policemen also, because if they go in COVID affected area, they have to stay in touch with a lot of people and they also get infected. So then lot of district administration use drones. They gave drones to the police, and through the drone they were able to monitor the roads, monitor the population, and see whether people are coming out, whether they are following the lockdown, etc. So likewise, understanding that there is a problem and there is a possible technology solution to that, that has to be first of all studied, and we have to identify opportunities. So that part we need to look at first of all. So going forward, let me see next slide. So let me take example of pitch. So what is called pitch? Pitch means, just like in cricket you have a pitch, right? You play on a pitch. So that is where all your activities are going on. You are having a pitch. So here also pitching means you are basically, you are putting forward basically your whole proposal before a person. You are pitching something. So you are basically telling them about the key idea that you have. That, hey, I have identified this problem. I have studied this problem and I have a good solution. If you look at this idea, you will definitely find it interesting and you may be ready to fund us. So pitch is generally required for getting some initial funding and getting shortlisted for competitive funding opportunities. So many funding agencies, many funding platforms, they organize competitive events where you need to submit the pitch, and that pitch may require some details about the product idea that you have. And I will go through one document which gives you the component of the pitch, what should be included in the pitch. And some pitches may be for startup which are just idea level. That means you have just got that idea and it is a very cool idea, it is a very hot idea, it is something which can be really commercialized very easily. You have not developed the product yet. So it is a very idea level pitch, initial very zero level pitch. Those kind of pitches are also there. Second, that okay, you have already developed the pitch, you have already developed the product, you already have done some development, you are not at zero level, and then you want to get some more money to go to the next step. So those pitches are also there. So both possibilities are there. So either you can have zero level pitch, just idea level. If your ideas are good, definitely it will attract attention. If you have done good study, if you have done proper study about a sector, you have studied the competition, then definitely that pitch will also attract investors. And second, you have already done some prototyping, you have already vetted your product. Pilot means testing. Pilot means testing anything. So piloting a solution, piloting a product means you are getting some initial testing done by floating your product and letting some customers use them. Again, there is a lot of noise coming. So let us look at the pitch example that we have and find what are components in a pitch. So I will share a PDF basically which is taken from Tata. It is Ratan Tata's pitch. So Ratan Tata has recommended a set of elements which should be included in the pitch. That's what I am just going to present very briefly. So as I said, there can be both stages. One stage is zero level. Zero level means you don't have a product designed yet. You just have an idea. So this pitch that I'm going to show you, it is for the next level. At least you have a product. But again, means I will tell you the points which should be included when you have zero level. So let me share the PDF. All right, so this is a pitch deck by Ratan Tata. I hope you can see the screen. All of you can see that pitch deck, the PDF. All right. So let us see what are the components proposed. What is the component in a general pitch deck? Any doubt before we proceed with this? Any question before we proceed with this? So far, whatever points are covered, any question on that? If not, we can go ahead. Yeah, all this PDF slide I will share, video will also be shared. All are muted, I think. If somebody is not muted, we will see. What is a pitch deck? So pitch deck, as written over here, is a short overview of your often used when presenting to investors and raising funds. So remember all the previous steps. Don't jump to the pitch deck. Before coming to the pitch deck, you need to do your study. You need to identify the problem. You need to identify the solution. You need to study the sector. You need to do the case study. All that comes first. And I have given you the process how to do that. Next only we get to the pitch deck. So I'm just giving you one example of what is going to be the component of a pitch deck. So here it is a short overview of your business idea for raising fund from investors. And what is the basic template? Let's see. First thing is problem. What is the problem you are trying to solve? And validate the problem with real life examples. So pitch the problem. For example, here I told you about a couple of problems. One of them was having a robotic, the doctors basically getting infection because of patients in hospital. So that is the problem. I need to solve that. So it is a real life problem. There is definitely a real life angle to it. So you need to present the real life scenario. Data, for example, you can have news articles, you can quote news articles that so many doctors have died because of contacting coronavirus from infected patients. So this is a real life data which shows that yeah, there is a real demand. So many doctors, talented doctors are getting infection and they are dying. The doctors themselves have to be quarantined. So there is a loss of resource also, right? Even if they are not dying, but they are getting infection, they can't go to their home, they have to be quarantined. So our very talented manpower is getting lost. They have to be quarantined. So even if it is not as extreme as death, but if you just count the number of doctors getting quarantined, it is a huge and there is a big loss. Therefore, there is a very significant problem. And it's not just a short-term solution. In future also, if this kind of problems keep coming, COVID-like infections keep coming, we need to be ready for that. Hospitals need to be ready for that. Any infectious disease, if it keeps coming in future, we need to be prepared for that now onwards. Therefore, it is not just one time that COVID came and went, and after that it will not be used. It will be used in future. So that way you have to justify how important the problem is. Whether it is just a short-term problem, it is going to be continued, or whether it is going to be used in future also. So I need to first of all think about the problem and justify it from all the angles. Whether it is a really valid problem and it is going to sustain. And then next is obviously what is the solution? What is your solution to the problem? So then your technical detail, business detail, exactly how I'm implementing it, that comes into picture. So solution may be technology oriented, where, for example, this robotics example is a technology solution. You may have some other problems which are done by service. For example, you are trying to say you have seen this NDTV program, right? So NDTV launched a program for raising funds for farmers, right? They are trying to raise investment for farmers. People are trying to raise investment from city dwellers so that farmers who don't have money to invest in their farming, they can get some support. So likewise, there are some startups who are doing it in a profitable way. So they basically try to patch up with the farmers, and then they basically try to work with them to make their farming profitable, and just try to get them some investment money at a very low, zero interest. And the main idea over there is that by investing money in farming, they can help them in getting some good yield and also very good production of some high value crop, and not just growing very common crops like rice and wheat, etc., but really some high value crops which can give them good income, and that income can be used to return some profit to the investor also. So that way what happens is you are basically helping the farmers on one hand. On the same time, you are also helping the investor in making some money. So if you are able to help the farmer in doing the cultivation in a very profitable way by the help of technology or services, etc., by connecting them with the investor. What is the problem with the farmer? It doesn't have money to invest in any technology or any new solution. So you are providing a service. You are connecting people in the city and getting some investment from them, and you are providing that financial support to the farmer. Whatever profit the farmer is making, some part of that goes to the investor. So that way the investor also gets some good return, and farmer is also happy. So this is a service example where we are not dependent so much on the technology. Of course, there is technology coming into picture because there is some software, there is some IT related solution through which you are connecting with the farmer. But ultimately, it is more heavy on the service model, how you are providing service to the farmer, how you are providing service to the investor. So some solution may be having strong service component, whereas some solution may be having more technology component. For example, Swiggy. Swiggy is a startup which came from IT Kharagpur, right? So Swiggy is my batchmate startup. We keep talking, right? So he, in fact, currently he has left Swiggy. He has gone to another startup. We keep talking, and he may be coming to this, workshop also for giving talk. So his name is Rahul Jaimini. All of you know him, probably. He has got the Distinguished Young Alumni Award, Young Alumni Achiever Award last time. So now Swiggy is also a service model. So they are using technology, they are using app, they definitely have some IT support. So they are definitely having some technology component. But ultimately, the main purpose is to provide food delivery service. So it is technology enabled service company. So there may be different kinds of approaches. Solution may be purely technical. Some solutions may be purely service business oriented. Some solutions may be service plus technology. Swiggy is service plus technology. Robotics is pure technology. Likewise, you may have solutions which are pure services also, right? So there may be examples where there is hardly any technology involved. It is just pure service-based model. So we have solutions can be of different types, and depending upon requirement, depending upon the particular problem, you may use only technology, you may use service and technology, or you may use only service for addressing that challenge. So that's up to the innovator. That is up to the the person who is basically launching the solution. Now the next is what is your unique proposition? So this is about doing the competition search. That okay, what is unique about your solution? So there are other solutions possible in the market. Have you studied them? Have you made sure that your solution is unique and different from others, or you are having some unique advantage over others? That is also something you should put forward very clearly. And this part comes from studying previous examples, studying previous solutions, studying existing startups, doing the case study part. So exploring the studying, reading existing solutions, existing startup, doing the case study gives you a lot of maturity and understanding, so that you can come to a level where you can really innovate and your solution can be better than others. If you think about 10 other solutions, your possibility of coming with a better solution is much more. If you just if you don't study, there is hardly any possibility that you will be able to come up with a good solution which is new. So therefore this review part, case study part, study of competitive startups, that is very, very important and crucial. Next slide is about competition and barrier to entry. Competitions, again, you have to make a list of similar. So you have to make a list of startups, list of competitions who are or they are also attacking similar problems, or they are having similar solutions. So you definitely need to have that list. So there again, that comes through proper case study. So this is already something I have discussed, and there is some term used over here which is barrier to entry. What is barrier to entry? Barrier to entry means if there are other startups who are already capturing market, they are already into market, then there is a barrier to entry. Means because then capturing new market and making space for yourself will be difficult if your solution is very similar to them. So suppose there is a startup which is having similar idea to yours, and they have already got investments from venture capitalists. That means there are several steps of funding. So funding goes in 2-3 steps. First is your seed grant or angel investment. That is smallest amount of fund. So seed grant and angel investment maybe few lakhs. So initially, when you are starting with an idea, some angel investor is interested. They may be able to give you small money. That is seed grant or angel investment. After that, you can get VC. There is venture capital. There are venture capital fund which can give you much bigger amount of money if your product is validated. If you have gone to commercialization already and you have done some transaction, you have some track record, and your idea is good, scalable, successful, then you can get money from venture capitalists. And that money can be big. So there are several steps in that also. Series A, Series B, Series C. Series A can be several crores of rupees, millions of $1 or $2 million, or few $1 million. Series B may be $10 million. Series C may be $100 million. So there are several steps in the funding also, VC funding also. So if there is a startup which is very similar to you, or idea is very similar to you, and they have already got venture capital fund, that means they have already got Series A fund, $2 million. Now they have already the resource which they can scale up their business and capture more market. So therefore, it is becoming a barrier to entry for you. So you need to understand where are the barriers to entry. Are there competitors who are already funded, who are already growing, who have already captured the market? Then you need to overcome those barriers by innovation. If you have solutions which are better, stronger, more innovative, then possibly you can overcome that barrier. So likewise, there can be other barriers also, like geographical barrier, cultural barrier. In a certain geography, you may have competitors existing. In some other geographies, you may not have competitors existing. So there is geographical barrier. Likewise, you may have social and economical barrier. Some solutions are not very cheap. It will require some technology cost. And therefore, you are not, even if you develop it, you are not able to sell it. People are poor and they are not able to buy it. Then it also becomes a problem. So there may be many barriers to entry. So that also we need to understand what is the barrier to entry. And of course, we will have we will have some examples on this, some detailed example on this later. Then next point over here is how easy it is to replicate your solution. So if your solution is very simple, very cheap, cheap means not in terms of cost, but in terms of development. If it is very easy to replicate, then also it is a problem. Many other people can also simultaneously do it, unless you have patented it, right? So if you have a technology or an idea which you have patented, then you have a right on it, and then you can, anybody tries to copy it, you can sue them. But if you are an early stage idea and the idea is very simple, anybody can implement it, then it is slightly risky, because then you can have many competitors. The moment you go to market, other person can pick it and also start doing it. So that way it can become problematic as well. Sridhar is asking a question, what is exactly what we want? A simple, easy to manufacture idea? Uh, Simple, easy to manufacture idea is a different thing. But if the idea is very easy to copy, very simple, and the intellectual property over there, the idea over there is very simple and easy to copy, then you have to protect it as quickly as possible. If you're not protecting it using patents, etc., then anybody else can copy it and they can, right? I can give you my own story. I can give you our own story. So I have worked with a startup called Agnex Technologies. I was a co-founder. Right now I have exited out of it. I'm doing something else. So in that startup, we designed a cold storage. That cold storage was based on some electronic device connected to a AC. So there is an air condition. The air condition generally that you put in room, its temperature doesn't go below 15 degrees Celsius. But in a cold storage, to store vegetables, etc., fruits, etc., you need much lower temperature. You need to go to 0 degree. So now we put an electronic device in the AC through which it can be controlled and the temperature can be brought down. So we basically bypass the controller of the AC by our own electronic gadget. And then we can use any AC with our electronic device and then put it in a enclosed room. It becomes a cold storage. So this is a very simple idea, right? You just have that electronic device, which basically alters the control of the air condition and converts it into a cold storage. So that way you can convert any room into a cold storage. So we did it and we commercialized it. But then we are seeing that there are a lot of other players also entering. Even the big players like Blue Star, which sells AC and cold storage, they also try to replicate this idea. Now, if you have big players who also try to do something similar, and you don't have a patent yet, we have filed a patent, but still it is pending. So, of course, you can have provisional, etc. But if the idea is very simple, there are possibilities that people or bigger players can try to replicate it. So you need to protect it as soon as possible and try to basically hide your IPs, hide your solution. Do not basically reveal your strategies, technology-wise, business-wise, to outside people so easily. Then there is, I think, another question. Yeah, so there are several options. There is an option for provisional patent that you can get quickly. So provisional patent you can get very quickly, within few months or less than that you can get it, and then you can develop your product. So that can be, that can give you some protection. Of course, we will give you some case studies example. We will give you some blogs and some topics where you can, have where you can go through those case studies. And next is your, let's next see the next one. Next, what is the revenue model? Revenue model means how are you making money out of the business? So that also you need to make sure, like the product is okay, but then how do you make money out of that product? What is your monetization strategy? How do you sell that product? That is important. So again, revenue model is a detailed topic, and we can have one session on this alone. So I'll take a lecture on revenue model because this is important. If you have to propose a startup or a business plan, there the revenue model plays an important role. So in simple words, revenue model deals with how you are making money. For example, there are 2-3 models discussed over here: subscription-based model, direct sales, or ad-based model. So a subscription-based model means you have some software and somebody subscribes to your software and they give you some subscription fees every month, every year, whatever, monthly subscription or yearly subscription. So if you have some interesting app, for example, you have developed some app. Suppose you have developed some app for a doctor. So that app can be used by the doctor to connect with nearby patients and monitor their health condition and get the feedback, give them prescription, etc. So suppose you have developed an interesting app which can be used by doctors and it's a very popular app. So doctors will be subscribing to your app. They will be paying you some charges monthly basis. So that is one possible model. Now you can also, if you don't want to go for subscription model, you can also go for direct sales model. That okay, I will just sell you the app once. I sell you that, you pay the cost once, and the app is yours. You can keep using it for a fixed maybe several years, I am not going to charge you further. That is direct sales, where you don't really charge a subscription. You just sell one time and you get the revenue. That is direct sales model. And then ad based. So you say that, okay, I don't even charge the doctor. Uh, I don't even charge the doctor. Rather, I have a ad-based model. So I will be basically tying up with companies who can put their ad on this app. And if there are a lot of people using this app, a lot of people are able to see those ads. So if your solution is getting very popular and there is a possibility of mass outreach means your solution has the potential of reaching to many people. Then you can have an ad-based model also, where you can tie up with companies and companies can pay you for showing their ads. So likewise, there are many other models also to earn money. So we will study some of these and probably will give you some material regarding this also. So Mukti is asking whether we can discuss bootstrapping model. We will discuss some of these. So right now, let us finish this revenue, this pitch deck, and then we will look into examples, case studies in subsequent sessions. We will take a lot of sessions for you so that you can be prepared. You can prepare well for the pitch. So the next 1 week, we have to prepare you for case studies and pitch. You should be able to study ideas, study a sectors, do the case study yourself, and come up with ideas. That part we are going to help you in next 1 week, starting from now. So the target market, as I have said, it is very important to understand the target market. If you're, whatever product you are developing, you need to understand whether there is a need of that product in the market. What is going to be the response of the market towards your product? So generally, there is something called market research. We need to do market research. We need to survey the customer or prospective customers. We need to talk to customer. For example, if somebody is one of the student in our on an app for doctor. So I told him that first of all, you study what are the similar apps existing. And second thing is you need to talk to the doctor. You call some doctors and try to tell them that this is the app I'm trying to develop. Will you be interested? So you need to get the feedback from the client and try to understand whether the client is really interested in that product. So understanding the target market is very, very important. Getting market research done is very, very important. So this kind of things, some of the data, some of the information may be available online also. You don't always have to call the client or connect with the client to get the feedback. Some of the information may be available online also, and you can assess that, yeah, this technology is in very much demand. And if I develop this, it is going to be definitely marketable. So in many cases, you don't need to connect with the client one-to-one and try to understand his feedback and do the market research. Market research can also be done indirectly by studying the data online or studying some reviews online of similar products, similar approaches, etc. So that is the part of understanding the target market and understanding the need of the people, purchasing power of the people, purchasing habits of the people. So that is what all mentioned over here. Understanding target market is also very important. You should understand that this is that market which is going to buy my product. I have a prospective market for my product where I can sell easily. And you have to show some data that, yeah, I mean, this is these numbers show that there is a demand for my product. There is a demand for this particular solution, and I will be able to sell my solution. So that should be available. You should be able to show that information before the investor. Next is your revenue model we have already discussed. Next is your product and service. Now, of course, you need to describe the product and service, what is unique and what is how you are designing the product, what is the unique feature. Those things we have already discussed. So try and in very simple terms. Don't go too technical. A pitch means it has to be very, very simple. A layman without having technical information, without having much technical education should also be able to understand. If it is service-based model, even then, if it's a business model, even then, it should be easily able to understandable by investors. So you need to describe your product, the key features of the product, the key idea, very simple terms. And then milestone. Milestone means what is your timeline? At what points do you want to achieve what targets? For example, you have already developed some product, you are already carrying out some pilot, or you want to develop a product, you want to carry out, you want some money for developing the product, or you already have a product and you want to basically scale it up and do the mass manufacturing. Initially, what happens is generally, if you have a hardware product, for example, you need to do prototyping. For example, electronics people, they will be doing prototyping using some development board, Raspberry Pi, Arduino, some small electronic devices. And once you have validated your idea, then it has to be mass manufactured. That means it has to be from the lab prototype, which is not very sellable, right? You do lab experiment, all of you have done, for example, basic electronics. You have some lab breadboard, right? So you have some PCB, you have breadboard, and there you connect some wires, etc., and do some experiment, but you can build something out of it. But that is not something sellable. For sellable, you need to have something which is in product form, that can be mass manufactured. For that, you may need more money. So you need to showcase that this is my timeline. Right now, my product is in a lab stage. It is just like a lab project. I need to convert it into a professional product which people can buy. So I need to mass manufacture it. I need to get it produced from some company or some manufacturing firm. So you need to produce your timeline. This is the time when I'm going to start building my product. This is the time when I'm going to start commercializing. This is the time when I'm going to acquire more market. So that milestone also has to be discussed. And then finally, funding. If you have any funding so far, tell them. If you don't have, then say that this is our first round. We are trying to raise the funding. And the team is important. If you are having good team members who are really capable of doing the work, if you have right kind of expertise in your team, right kind of mentors in your team. Suppose at the early stage as a student, if you want to develop an idea, it is good to have some alumni associated with you who have expertise in that area, who can mentor you, or having some faculty associated with you who is enthusiastic about startup and who can mentor you, or having some accelerator program who can give you good mentor. So that will basically strengthen your team. So initial stage, you guys are beginning, you are developing some solution, some idea. If you get good mentors in your team, that may strengthen your team. You can say, okay, we are getting guided by some expert who also has experience. So that's why we also help you in building the team. We get you mentors, we get you alumni who are maybe interested in your idea. We get you partners from accelerator programs who may be helping you in building your team. So if you get some other one or two guys who are senior and who are also interested in your mentoring, that may help you strengthen your team further. And of course, you can also have, you can, somebody saying is it also possible to have a single member startup. So if your product idea is so good and, you have already developed it, so it is sometimes okay. It's not preferred because startup is not a single person's, cup of tea. You generally need both sides, business side, technology side. So at least if you have just business-based startup, just service-based startup, even then it is good to have a co-founder because then you get to discuss the ideas, you get to discuss the approaches. So it is always good to have 2 to 3 people in the founding team and also having some mentors and advisors in the team. Without that, it is difficult to get funding unless you have a very breakthrough idea and is very attractive. And then so this is, I have talked about the pitch deck. Now I can just give you a very quick example of a pitch deck, which may not have all these things, which have parts. Like before closing, I'm just giving you a very quick example of a pitch deck. So remember that this is just a high-level, description. I have, as I have said, I will be giving you a lot of different sessions on case study, etc., so that you get an idea how to do the case study. And I will be giving you some examples, some case studies myself also, different sector. So if you tell you that, okay, I want to do a case study on education sector, what kind of solution can be done for education sector, I can give you a lot of case study in that. Likewise, any sector, once I choose, I can give you lots of case study in those sector. So I'll give you some examples on that. But before that, let us, have a quick example of a pitch. Before we end today's session, let us have a quick example of a pitch. So this pitch involves a KGP startup, in fact. So there's a KGP alumnus who is involved. Let me open it. It's a 2016 startup and it involves KGP alumnus. So let me, where is the screen sharing? So I will share this one. And then I think this is the one. So Zoom meeting, Google Chrome, share. So I'm sharing my Google Chrome and there you can see this. I hope all of you can see this slide. You can see this slide, this Mara Labs. Anybody can just confirm they can see this slide?
Yes, sir.
Let's go ahead. All right, so this is a very quick go through. I'm going to go through this pitch particularly, which is from IT Kharagpur alumnus, and this pitch is from 2015. So these, yeah. So there is some question. Somebody is raising hand. Devendra is raising hand. What is the problem? What is the question? Yes. What is the question? Quickly. What is the question? So don't raise hand if you don't have question. Otherwise, I will ask you question. Next is your, this startup is basically logistics startup. You can see the founders over here. Geet Garg is the CTO. He is from IIT Kharagpur, computer science, and he has worked in company also for some time, 1 or 2 years. So it's not necessary that you have to work in a company, then only you can go for a startup. You can very well go for a startup right as a fresher also. It's not very difficult. If you have right kind of idea, right kind of team, you can do that. And these days, school guys are going to startup. I can give you examples where school guys, they launched their startup and they made money. So it's not difficult. If you have right idea, if you have right team, you can launch a startup as a college student. Forget about college student. These days, school students are doing it. I can give you examples where college students from other colleges, not even IIT, other colleges, NIT and some unknown colleges, they are coming up with good ideas and they are getting funding. So why not IIT? You definitely should go ahead and try to explore ideas, innovate, get funding, develop product, do some projects. That's why we are doing all this. So we will give you several examples. Tomorrow there is another startup which is going to come and talk to you. So there is a CEO of a particular startup who is going to give you a talk tomorrow. So here, this company is about logistics. So this is basically providing you delivery service for all different sectors. So Swiggy is a delivery for food, right? So they just deliver food. But this company is trying to provide delivery for everything, many different other things: laundry, food, courier, and whatnot. Many other, shipment. So likewise, in city you may have some other logistic requirement. So there are a lot of different things that they are covering. So they want to be a one-stop solution for delivery. So currently they have funding of Series A. They have raised $2 million in 2017, and after that they are still struggling. They have not done very well after that because they are trying to do too many things. Means trying to deliver too many things. So definitely there are some problems, some challenges, but still because this is a KGP pitch and this is an early stage startup, I'm going through this pitch. So first of all, what they are mentioning is the problem. This is the expensive pain point is a massive market. So this is the problem, right? The first thing is, what is your problem? So the problem in this slide, that fast growing need of better tools in delivery, dispatch, resource assignment, tracking, etc. is a problem, and solution needed by e-commerce, Uber for X companies, and any operation with a mobile workforce. Uber for X means just like there is a Uber for car, right? There is a Ola for hotel. These are aggregators, right? So they connect certain industry. So likewise, Uber for X is a phrase for any company which is doing aggregation. Like Swiggy is a Uber for hotels or restaurants. They are basically aggregating restaurant service. They are collecting from restaurant and delivering it to the client. Likewise, Uber for X means any organization which is aggregating a particular sector. So hotel aggregator is Ola, car aggregator, Uber, Ola, food, restaurant chain aggregator, Swiggy. So likewise, Uber for X. So all these companies which are into e-commerce or who are into delivery, they need good solutions for tracking the delivery operation, etc. So another, they don't, either they have to develop their own solution or they have to rely on suboptimal solution. So they are proposing that we will develop a solution which is applicable to all this kind of delivery issues. And then the third point that they have mentioned is inelegant and unoptimized existing solution all require massive amount of manual intervention. So for example, even Swiggy, for example, does not have a optimized routing. That okay, this is the best route through which you should get, so that you have minimum cost. If you have to deliver multiple points, whether their optimum, whether the algorithm for the route is optimal or not, that is not very well known. So likewise, they are saying that using proper algorithms, we will design an optimized delivery network, optimize, etc., so that the delivery partner can get maximum profit out of it. So right now, they are stating that the solutions that are existing are inelegant and not optimized, unoptimized existing solutions, and they require a lot of manual intervention and poor end customer experience. So they want to develop more optimized solutions for all these problems. I hope you're getting the problem. So this is for basically addressing the problem of e-commerce sector, where people are delivering items online, delivering items with the help of delivery guys, and they don't have right kind of platform through which they can track the delivery timely, and they can also basically track the route, optimize the route, etc. So now the next step is, this is the problem, and the next step is, let me see why it is not showing up. So the next step is solution. What is the solution? A tool for automated dispatch, tracking, and route optimization. This is their solution. So eliminating 100% of human intervention in order dispatch using intelligent algorithm. 75% reduction in effort when scaling operations to a new city, and then exceptional experience to end users with live on-road tracking of order and minute-by-minute ETA update. ETA means expected time of arrival. So when you're delivering something online, you need to have ETA, expected time of arrival. So they are saying that these are the features their technology is having, their solution is having, which others don't have. So these are the solutions. So first they stated the problem, next they are stating the solution. Next is I'm not going to detail, I'm just going to showing you an example based on whatever we discussed. Then why customers will be interested in this? So they are saying that you can't build this in-house while making financial sense. So what they're saying is they have invested good amount of R&D in developing this algorithm. So they have invested good amount of research and team effort in building this technology. And people who are into e-commerce, who are just doing to delivery businesses, they may not have all the resources to basically develop this kind of sophisticated technology which has all these features. Therefore, for them, it may not be very easy to build this kind of solution and use it for their respective services. Therefore, it makes sense to have this solution. They are trying to justify that yes, there is going to be a market for their solution. If they build this solution, because for other e-commerce players who are basically trying to deliver things online, it is difficult for them to build this kind of sophisticated and holistic solution in-house. Therefore, they will be interested in buying my solution. So they are trying to justify that yeah, there is a market existing. So this is a rationale for the product. And next is your illustrative cases, use cases. So they are trying to give the basically description of the market, like what is the market, where all my technology can be used. So this is about product. Remember in the previous slide, I talked to you about product, that you have to tell about the service and the product, where all your solution will be used. So they are giving all kinds of solution. So dispatch, assignment, tracking of goods, schools, school bus tracking, etc., and food tech, food delivery, laundry pickup. So they are giving n number of examples that in all these sectors, our solution can be used. So all these online delivery, online booking, online tracking, in all these different sectors can be done with the help of our solution. So it is not only for food, it is not only for transport, it is not only for dispatch, assignment, it can be done for all these different sectors. Dispatch assignment means when you are, for example, when you are booking for transporting something from one point to another point, or you are buying something and it is supposed to reach you, you are buying some furniture and the shopkeeper is supposed to deliver it at your doorstep next day. So all that tracking, etc., you can do. So if you are buying from some online store, means if you are buying from some local store and you want to track what is happening, so the small businesses like a furniture shop owner, they may not have all this technology. They may not have all the solution to basically provide to the customer that, oh, hey, you take this app and you track when it is going to arrive. Big players like Amazon, Flipkart, they have it. But if you talk about small business owners, for example, a furniture furniture supplier, or maybe a car showroom, or maybe somebody who is doing some decor for your house, or somebody who is supplying you clothes, maybe your tailor or designer or whatever. So many cases, these small businesses, individual businesses, they may not have the technology, they may not have the right kind of app, they may not have the right kind of platform to manage all this delivery. Therefore, having this algorithm having this application with the help of which you can manage delivery. You can anytime connect with the delivery guy and book your transaction of the delivery, and the customer can track the delivery. All that thing will be feasible for any business, small or big, in the city. So that is their USP, right? So they are trying to explain that to this slide. Anybody can use that solution. It is not going to be limited to only Flipkart and Amazon and eBay. Any small business, big business in the city, they don't need to. They can go online. They can give the tracking option for the customer, etc. So that's how they are trying to establish that this is the unique point in our solution. And yes, there is a demand for our solution. It is very important that you understand it from this perspective. Why this is important? Why the solution has a demand, right? I hope I'm trying to make it clear. I hope you understood that, why there is a demand. Next slide. Now they are giving some big numbers that, okay, once they have made the investor confident about that there is a market, there is a demand, and then they are trying to tell about the market in India, that big numbers that, okay, this logistic requirement, how much investment is happening. So, for example, for this kind of delivery-based businesses, delivery-based solutions, US $1.5 billion investment is happening in 2014 alone. Likewise, in India, this much investment has happened. So they are trying to quote these numbers from some online sources. So they have given the sources also, right? So many times when you have to quote these numbers, you have to quote the source. From where are you getting this data? And these data are generally available online. When you search for a particular sector and industry, this kind of data can be obtained from blogs. So somebody who has written a blog regarding this industry, they will be telling you that this much investment has happened in this delivery sector, online delivery and dispatch sector. So they are quoting those numbers and they have given the source, right? So for quoting this kind of number, you have to quote the source from where you have got this number. And within India, within US, they have given the market size. And then they are looking at the business model. So business model, very quickly they have summarized in one slide that what is the approach, what is the way they are operating the business. So input side, they have delivery locations, delivery items, and delivery boys. So they are managing delivery boys. So basically they are connecting with delivery boys. They are any business owner, any shopkeeper, any small business owner, they can enter their location. They can basically enter the delivery time. They can connect online with the delivery boys and get the thing done. So this is the comprehensive platform, a platform which is holistic for every other small business they are providing it. So these are the inputs and benefits. What are the benefits? They have listed over here. The dispatch assignment of order to a particular delivery boy. Optimum routes. Optimum routes means the routing, the path, etc. is optimized so that cost of delivery is minimized. And then split of route between delivery boys. So if there is a need that okay, from point A to point B, delivery boy 1 does it. Point B to point C, delivery boy B does it. So that kind of optimization also they are doing so that the overall cost can be minimized. Suppose from point A to point B, person 1 is going. Point B, there is already somebody going to be there at that time. So he can take it up and go forward. So that way they are doing cost optimization. So splitting of route between delivery boys, task/route to their phones. So all that application is coming in the phone. They are able to track that, tracking event completion, live aggregated reporting. So all these are benefits of the solution. So this is more about, so they are talking more about the features of the product. What is, how they are operating, what is the feature of the product. So this is not really a business model. So I should caption this slide as a overall solution and strategy, how they are operating. This is not really business model. I would not say that this is a correct title. So they should not use business model for this title, for this slide. This slide is more about operation, how they are executing, what is the feature of the business solution. Next is your, let's see, next is your illustrative cases anyway we have seen, and business models we have seen. Revenue model. So come to the revenue model. So we have seen, last presentation we saw the revenue model is important, how we are making money. The first line is our B2B product is a platform as a service under the brand name Locus. So B2B means business to business. Business to business means who is your buyer, who is buying your solution. So it is not that the end client or a consumer is buying your product. It is another business. So any other business who is into delivery, who wants to deliver their product to the doorstep of client, they are buying this solution. That's why it is B2B. You are a business and there is another business who is buying solution. There is a B2B product. Some product may be B2C, where a client, a consumer is buying your product. It becomes B2C. Here it is B2B. Sometimes you may develop a product which is government is going to buy. Then it becomes B2G. You are a business, you are selling it to government. Then it becomes B2G. Sometimes it is B2B2C. You sell it to a business and that business provides service to the customer or sell it to the customer. Then it becomes B2B2C. There are several models like that. B2B means business to business. You are a business, you are making a business out of your product, and there is another business, there is another company or another business who is buying your solution for their operation. Then it is a B2B model. And it is a subscription model and card on file. Subscription model because they are using their app, right? So for that app, they are having subscription fees, and that's how they are earning the money. This is a subscription model. And then each API is charged at a few single cents. So API, you don't need to worry about that. Those who don't know these terminologies, API is a terminology used for app development and linked to basically how the application works. And so these are the main points. So this is a revenue model. Then this is just a demonstration how it is working, how the app is working, how it is looking like. They're just showcasing the product. And then finally, some media coverage that, okay, we have already developed the product. We have already got some media coverage in several newspapers, online, offline. So they are showing that. So I hope, I took you through a very quick pitch. This is already for a startup which has developed the product, which has already piloted the product with some clients, and they have shown some success. Likewise, there can be pitch decks which are very early stage. They have not really developed the product fully. They are just doing some initial ideation. So that level also we can show some example, or I can give you some example online. So I will give you some online examples of idea level pitch decks. You can go through that. That will help you in getting some idea how the initial level, just zero level pitch deck can be prepared. So let us, that is what I will share today. So I hope I could make it clear. What do you need to really come to the startup level? And second thing is, what is really a pitch deck? How do you prepare it? What are the components to it? And then we took an example. Let me stop here and see if there is any question. So there is a question from Saurabh Shubham. Other than the idea itself, do initial level investors look at the company founder's profile, judging whether the company could survive or not? If yes, then what about these two are yet to get any? What about those who are yet to get any industrial company-based experience, say freshers? So see, means as long as your idea is good and you are in a good college, you are from IIT, at least the initial level funding, you will not get VC funding, right? So day one, you are not going to get a VC funding. Forget about it. You will initially have to prove yourself with smaller amount of funding. You will have to prove your solution using smaller amount of funding. So even Swiggy did not get a VC funding on day one, right? So Swiggy also started small and did some piloting, and, get some initial money and at least develop the zero level solution. Then only they got bigger funding. So initially you can't expect that VC will be coming to you. Venture capitalists will not come to you. Initially, if your idea is good, seed investor will be coming to you, angel investor will be coming to you. For them, you are very attractive. IIT student, smart idea, good team, dedicated people, good mentorship, IIT environment, IIT support. So that's good enough. So don't worry about that. So initially, the target is to attract seed funding or small amount of money with which you can do the product development and reach some clients, pilot your solution. If you are able to do that, then the next step is becoming very easy. Then you can get bigger funding. Any other idea? Any other question? Any other question? No other questions? Okay, I hope you got an idea about the topic. So please enter your attendance and then leave. +1, just enter +1 to enter your attendance. +1, and your name. If your name is not coming, please enter your name also. Most of the people I can see the name. In case your name is not coming, then enter your +1 and the name. Video will be shared with all of you. I will share the video link. Missed out the previous webinar, so you will not get the attendance for that webinar. Simple. You will get the video. You can watch the video, but attendance, if you have missed it, what can be done? Okay, everybody has given. So there is another question. Is it better to keep speech too brief or should be detailed one? Speech generally is brief, just 5-6 slides, not more than that. Generally, it has to be brief. Generally, pitches are delivered within 10 minutes, not more than that. Webinars, where can we get videos and slides of the previous webinar? The videos are available with me. I will share it with you. So I will put it in a Google folder or somewhere, or I will send the links. All the links are there. Then we have not got any slides and video recording of the sessions that are already done. So we will send that. I will send all the previous videos. Then I think that is okay. Any other question before we leave? I hope everybody has entered attendance. How to file a patent? We can have some session right now. Let us first discuss about the ideas. Like how do you really work on ideas? How do you really do the market research? How do you do the industry analysis? How do you finalize your idea? Then come the patent. So patenting, we can have another session. We can, if there are people who already have ideas, they want to have patent, we can help them. Right now, let us first discuss about researching the problem. There is a problem and we want to have a solution. Let us research on that. Let us explore what companies are already working on it, what competition is already there. So that is the first step, identifying the problem, doing case study, figuring out competition, and then we come to the next step. How do app developers earn? App developers earn by doing job or doing freelancing. So there are all the companies, all the startups. There are a lot of startups who recruit app developers. In our own startup, there were several app developers, 10 developers who were just working on apps. So app developer means you can do a job also, right? So you can work in a company and earn money. Or if you want to have your own product, that way, if your app is popular and you want to sell it, people, if you think that, okay, it is really a sellable app, people will subscribe to it and pay money for it, then you can directly float your company also. Otherwise, you can work in some company or some startup and you can earn money. Yes, quickly enter your attendance quickly. Anybody else? Otherwise, you are asking the same question and again. I told you video, you will get the video. Any other question? All right. So I hope that the attendance is entered. I am going to close it now. If you don't have question, then you can exit. If you have question, you can ask me now. I hope you understood the whole session. Everything was clear. If you understood the whole session, or was it difficult to understand? Any point was difficult to understand?
Sir,
Yes, any comment? Yes.
Sir, what did you suggest to build our software part for our startup? Actually, I am working on a startup and we're required to build a web app. And what did you suggest for that?
So either you need to get somebody who has experience in developing web application. There are a lot of students on campus, UG, PG, etc. So they can work with you, or you can. We are also helping people by connecting them with external interns. You want some interns from other colleges who can work with you, who can help you in developing the app. That is also possible.
Okay, sir, but to find means to publish a final product, is it good enough to build out by students or to build by some freelancer or experts. I had that
Freelancer
doubt.
will take some money. So initial prototype, at least, if you have a good person in the team, they can develop, proper. I think the web app
Yes, sir.
development is easier as compared to Android, I would say. So web app development means at least beta level. You can get it done by your friends also. That's not very difficult.
Okay. Okay.
Freelancers, only thing is they will ask for some money. You will have to pay at least 10 20,000 rupees. If initially your idea is good and you are able to get some money from some seed grant, okay. Otherwise you will have to invest yourself. So if your idea is good, you can ask for money. You can basically you can help you in getting some money from investors. But if the idea is not very confident, not very good, then people will not be investing. So you need to be sure that, okay, what is the idea, whether it is that's why I said first thing is not technology development. First thing is exploring the business angle, exploring the market, exploring the opportunity, exploring the competition, exploring what is the requirement, then going for the
Yes, sir.
technology. If you have done all that research, then you have a plan that you can present before an investor, before an alumni, before an accelerator. Then we can get some money for you. If you don't do any of that research and say, oh, I have an app, I want to get some money to develop it, that is nobody going to give you.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
So feel free to contact. So I have already asked those people who are already having some startup idea or having some product idea to fill out their form. So I have already circulated some form called KG Penners. So I have circulated a form called KG Penners for all the people who have some startup idea. So we have already helping some people on that. So if you want to get some help, please fill that form.
Okay, sir.
The free app short startups, maybe they have other revenue channel. They may not be doing subscription model. They may be getting money from ads. So there is an ad revenue channel also, right? So we have discussed 2 3 revenue channels today. First one was direct sales, second was subscription, third was ad. So in digital world, ad based revenue is also very strong. Yeah, so I will circulate that form, no problem. So the startup form will be circulated again. How to explore the level of competition? That is by online search. If you look at a particular idea that this is the particular product, so you can use right kind of keywords to search whether there are similar products existing. So somebody is building a robot for automatic delivery in hospital, right? So you need to search with proper keywords and see whether there are already startups who are doing it. Already there are products existing, similar products existing in the market. Which are the companies that are providing similar products? So those kind of things are, just Google search. You just need to search properly, right kind of keywords. Then you will get the right kind of startup who are doing something similar. All right. So any other question? I hope everybody is done and everybody has, asked questions. Uh, and you have entered the attendance also. So I'm now exiting.